pleasure to welcome you to the 7th annual Gabriel Coulthard and William Mailer Distinguished Lecture, hosted by the Department of Modern Languages and Literatures. I would like to warmly acknowledge the presence of the French ambassador to Jamaica, Her Excellency Ms. Mariana Sees, who arrived in the country only very recently and yet has already visited us a few times. So thank you for your collaboration and your support. And I sincerely hope that this relationship just strengthens and continues all the time that you are here in Jamaica. We are also expecting the Honorary Consul of AT that I hope is coming. So probably before I finish my speech, I can welcome as well. And a warm welcome to our Deputy Principal, who is always here if time allows. And I am really happy and thank you for your always support. Also welcome to the Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Education, Dr. Dion Edwards-Carr. And our other heads of departments that I see here, former heads of our department, colleagues, special invited guests, friends of the department, students, and other members of the community. So thank you all for being here with us this evening. I would like to mention you all, but then they tell me I'm too long. So you know who are you, who I want to mention. So let us now give a special welcome to this one, yes, to our speaker tonight, Dr. Marie-José Zengutayo. For me, welcoming her is far from any ceremonial gesture. She welcomed me 20 years ago, literally at the airport, when I was arriving with her 8 months old, on my first arrival in Jamaica. And I could not have hoped for a better guide, mentor, or head of department, during those first formative years at the University of West Indies. Her advice, sometimes gentle, sometimes delivered with exactly the firmness I needed, has stayed with me ever since. And she also influenced me in other ways. And I'm going to tell you something that is a secret. She doesn't know. So I am going to, probably because now I am shameless, I can tell it. But years ago, 20 years ago, I was not so shameless. So I tell you that I remember that our first conversations, she mentioned quite naturally, assuming that I have read it, Pérez Reverte's El Maestro de Esgrima. I was too ashamed to confess that this particular Spanish novel was not in my library, and I haven't read it. So I nodded gracefully, and on that same day, I went back home, and I ordered the book, you know, all the Amazon things, and waiting for I don't know how many weeks. But I read it in a record time, in case she brought it up again. Of course she did. And thanks to her, this time, I was able to comment quite intelligently the book. El Maestro de Esgrima sits now proudly on my shelf, reminding me that academic peer pressure can genuinely improve one's literary education. And I am only revealing this now, as I said, because I am shameless. And in that same spirit of shared curiosity and intellectual generosity, this lecture series was created. Since its inauguration in April 2017, it has become one of the department's most stimulating traditions, honoring the two foundational scholars of the department, Gabriel Coulthard, a pioneer thinker of Latin American and Caribbean studies, and William Mailer, whom we honor in particular today, the meticulous scholar of 17th century French theater who built the institutional foundations that allowed French studies to flourish at UWI. Their legacy, rigor, intellectual openness still guide us. And over the year, this lecture has taken us on journeys across the Caribbean and beyond. We have explored Caribbean women writers and activism, thank you, Dr. Wilson, generational memories and scholarship, and revisited the Cuban Revolution and the ways ideology shapes narrative. We have followed tourists and travelers, discovering how mobility, desire, and representation shape Caribbean imaginaries. We have reflected on history, decolonization, identity, and last year, we encountered perhaps the most unexpected protagonist of all, the hippopotamus, and teaching us that even the most improbable figure can illuminate surprising corners of society, ecology, politics, and culture. So each lecture has challenged us to think more deeply about the region, how the Caribbean is narrated, and how artistic and intellectual practices respond to crisis, pressure, and transformation. Today, we continue with this trajectory as we turn our attention to Haiti. In the lecture that Dr. Zengutayo will be presenting, and the way in which Asian writers, working amid profound political, social, and historical turbulence, continue to imagine, create, and speak against the odds. Although each lecture in this series shifts in setting, theme, historical moment, context, they share a common thread. A commitment to understanding how Caribbean communities articulate meaning and possibilities amid challenge and change. It is therefore especially fitting that our speaker today is Dr. Zengutayo, whose scholarship embodies the crossing of geographies, migration, language, and intellectual traditions that defines this series. It is my great pleasure and deep admiration to welcome her again and thank her for being here this evening. And now, without further ado, I invite Deputy Principal Dr. Tonlin Paul to offer his welcoming remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Therese Neuer, our head of the Department of Modern Languages and Literature and our chair. Also, let me recognize Dean, Dr. Dion Edwards-Carr. And I must pay a special welcome to Ms. Marianne Zis, our newly minted ambassador, French ambassador. Welcome, Madame, and we wish you all the best with your tenure. Welcome to the campus, and we hope you have a good evening here with us. Let me also give a special welcome to Dr. Marie Jose Zengutayo, our distinguished lecturer this evening. Really a pleasure to have you, one of our very own. It's always good to have our own coming back home, I would say, so to speak, to be recognized and to have this honor this evening. Members of the Academy here at Mona, at UWI Mona, our colleagues, I see Professor Paulette Ramsey, who is here, former members of the Faculty of Humanities and Education, our administrators, our students, past and present, and distinguished guests, all members of our media. So indeed, it is my pleasure to bring you greetings on behalf of the UWI Mona campus community and the administration as we gather for this year's 7th Coulthard-Mailer Distinguished Lecture. I was here last year with the hippopotamus. Yes, it was hippopotamus? Yeah. And I enjoyed it so much, I said, I have to come back. Yeah, this is such a good event. But this annual event, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, honors two exceptional scholars. But it also reminds us of the enduring significance of language, literature, and culture. Cultural exchange, how that helps to shape our world. And so it really is important for us at the university here at Mona to have this kind of discourse, and this, I call it a celebration also. The Faculty of Humanities and Education celebrated its 75th anniversary, Madam Marianne, last year. We had a 75-year anniversary for this faculty. And the faculty remains a very busy faculty. Just today, this morning, they were celebrating World Philosophy Day, Dean. Yeah, the human condition. Yeah, had a very good celebration. Dr. Nilsson White and team, may see some colleagues here. And last week, we were in this very room, probably around this time, also celebrating with Professor Kamel Roof, her inaugural lecture, distinguished lecture. So there's a lot happening, lots of occasion, lots of events. But this evening's event is really a special one. At its inception, the faculty was not just about academic study. It was an essential part of the fabric of the Caribbean's journey to self-identity, its own development. It played a significant role in us thinking about nation building and social justice. And today, that kind of discourse continues as we have these distinguished lectures and the discourse around these themes. The works of the early faculty members, such as Professor Gabriel Coulthard and Dr. William Mailer, helped lay the groundwork for an academic tradition that centered Caribbean, or centers, I should say, Caribbean identity while embracing global perspectives. Their contributions continue to shape how we understand literature, how we understand language, how we understand culture in the region. Very important themes for us as a university. Prof. Coulthard was instrumental in designing courses that highlighted Caribbean literature and languages, integrating perspectives from Spanish, French, English, and the English-speaking Caribbean traditions. His vision enriched our curriculum and deepened students' appreciation for regional literary expression. Equally important was his role as a mentor. Dr. Mailer brought a passion for Caribbean narratives and literary identity, ensuring that local literature was not only studied, but valued in a global context. His emphasis on storytelling, something that we Caribbean people love. I miss the stories that my father used to tell me as a child. I remember many of them, and they're so special. I don't know if he made them up or if he borrowed them or what, but there's so much good stories that we used to hear. After hearing those stories, of course, at night, you couldn't sleep. But storytelling as an approach, is so important in the work that we do and that we all do. And Dr. Mailer himself was an excellent mentor for students. So it's indeed worthy of celebration, colleagues, that we have this distinguished lecture in the honor and the memory and the recognition of two of our outstanding colleagues that still lift the identity of our university and our Caribbean region today. This evening, as we continue that tradition, we welcome Dr. Marie Jose Zengutayo, one of our own scholars and an expert in the literature and culture of the French-speaking Caribbean. Her discourse on Haiti, I'm sure, colleagues, is very timely as we celebrate Haiti's qualification for the World Cup, the first in 51 years. Yeah, man, give them a round of applause. Yeah? And of course, we will be celebrating with the Reggae Boys in a few months. Yeah? I think it's March. That's coming. That's coming soon. So on behalf, it's just there for me to say, on behalf of the campus administration here at Mona, I welcome you, I bring you good greetings. I commend the faculty dean, Dr. Neuer, for its ongoing commitment to scholarly dialogue and academic excellence. Thank you all for being here this evening, and may we be inspired to deepen our appreciation for the power of literature and culture. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Paul. Thank you very much to Dr. Paul. And now we are going to hear the message of the Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Education, Dr. Dion Edwards-Kerr. If she manages, we have to bear in mind that just arrived for a very, very long trip and is here especially to be in this event. So I really thank you for being here.
Thank you, Maite. Good afternoon, colleagues. All right, this is on. I somehow not hearing myself. Yes, I did return from China this morning at 3 a.m. And so I've had a pretty long day, but it's good, right? So standing on the protocols that were established both by Deputy Dean Paul and Dr. Maite, she expected me to say something else. I am going to proceed with greeting you on behalf of the faculty. And I must say that I have watched a number of these events on YouTube. And what I often notice is the smiles on people's faces in these lectures. And so this evening, it's no different. When I came in here, in fact, before I came through the door, I could hear laughter. On coming up the corridor, I heard laughter in here. And so that tells us a lot about what these events stand for. They pretty much represent our intellectual contribution and monument in the region, but they also represent a place where we as scholars meet. And so when I look in the stands this evening, and I'm seeing the faces of those persons who have been here, who have contributed, who have offered their scholarship and continue to do so in so many ways. And so for that, on behalf of this faculty, I want to thank you for this ongoing support, for this way in which persons who have been here have not just walked away, but continue to stand with us to say, we are here to support. And so I want to thank you for that. Tonight, as we gather around this theme that for me is both urgent and deeply profound, this business of caught in the midst of Haiti's social and political turmoil, the Haitian writer. And I must tell you why Haiti means a lot to me. In the 1970s and early 1980s, my grandmother used to travel to Haiti as a vendor. She used to buy art from Haiti and sell on a wholesale basis in Montego Bay to craft vendors who sold to tourists. So for a very long time, Haiti, the name of Haiti, was said in our household. We understood what Haiti was and Haiti's relationship to us. So this evening, for me, is important because it's pretty much a call for us to confront the complexities of the crises, not the crisis, the crises that Haiti faces. The same crisis that is now pushing the boundaries of the Caribbean identities. It is asking the Caribbean people, who are you? And how will you respond to the crises? It is also setting up and has set up the space for creative resistance through writing. All of these are very much part of the elements of the Caribbean intellectual life, our advocacy. And we must never get to a point where we stop advocating for our brothers and sisters in Haiti. We must never get to a point where we turn our backs on our brothers and sisters in Haiti. I think it's too important to who we are as a region. So this evening, we are profoundly honored to welcome, and I'm going to take my time, Dr. Marie Jose Ngozi Teo, one of the region's most respected scholars of Haitian and Francophone Caribbean literature. Her work has illuminated the narratives of Haitian women writers, explored the intersections of migration, nationhood, and memory, and shed light on how Caribbean authors use literature as the site of both testimony and transformation. Across her distinguished career at UWI and beyond, she has championed voices that challenge erasure. And it's very easy to erase the other, right? Foreground lived experience and carve new pathways for understanding the Caribbean story. The Caribbean story is not singular, it is multiple, and it is very layered. This evening, as we delve into the role of the Haitian writer amid ongoing turmoil, we are guided by a scholar whose research, teaching, and advocacy have shaped how we read, interpret, and honor Haiti's literary legacy. Thank you for joining us, and I would say, I know you will have an open mind, will deeply reflect, and continue to share that unwavering commitment to to amplify voices that emerge from struggle, resilience, and hope. Thank you very much, and welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Edward Kerr. What's the name? In spite of the jet lag, I see you very awake. And now we are going to welcome our next speaker, that is the Senior Lecturer in French and Francophone Studies of the department, Dr. François Sevier, that is going to introduce our guest speaker.
Yes, good evening all. Greetings, special greetings to our Deputy Principal, Dr. Tomlin Paul, our Dean, Dr. Deon Edward Kerr, heads of department, new French ambassador in Jamaica, Madame Marianne Ziz, and also welcome to former heads of the department, Dr. Anthea Morrison, Dr. Elizabeth Williams, Dr. Betty Williams, Dr. Claudette Williams. Oh, Wilson! How could I do that? I'm sorry. And Professor Paula Ramsey. So you will have to pardon my French as well. Accent. So thank you all, dear colleagues, students, and friends, for being here today. This evening we have the honor of hosting Dr. Marie-Josée Zangutayo, a respected scholar figure of Caribbean studies. Most of all, I have the very special privilege of introducing someone who remains for us, sorry, I'm a very emotional person, a beloved former colleague of department, and our UE-MONA community, and a dear friend to many of us. So, this distinguished lecture series is dedicated to honor two past members of the departments, as you know, one of French and one in Spanish. So when a few months ago, Dr. Viloria asked me, who we could, to identify a researcher in Francophone studies for the distinguished lecture, I could not think of a better fit than Marie-Josée. To celebrate a scholar whose career embodies the very spirit of linguistic and literary excellence that this series represents. So Dr. Zangutayo is an independent scholar, an accomplished academic, translator, and interpreter, with a long dedication to the University of the West Indies. MoNA campus is remembered by many of us. She served for several decades as lecturer and as senior lecturer in French at the MoNA campus, and engaged in administrative leadership as head of department of modern languages and literature from 2005 and 2011. As Dr. Viloria said, her tenure was a period of rigorous dedication, human caring, and efficient leadership, demonstrating our commitment to teaching, research, and strategic growth of the humanities at UE and of the UE community. Dr. Zangutayo actively engaged in initiatives that connected UE with the world, and particularly with the Caribbean region. When head of department, she played a key role in the Confucius Institute initiative and development on the MoNA campus. Furthermore, she was deeply involved in regional solidarity, participating in the faculty's Teaching Haiti initiatives after the 2010 earthquake in Haiti. Her outreach is also extended locally, and as she's a past president of the Haitian Studies Association and of the Jamaican Association of French Teachers. She has also played a key role within several organizations involved in the development of French in Jamaica, like the Translators and Interpreters Association of Jamaica, the Alliance Française de la Jamaïque, the Jamaican Association of French Teachers. In recognition of her engagement, she has been awarded the distinction of Chevalier des Palmes Académiques by the French government. She has also received honors from numerous academic bodies for her stellar academic career in Francophone studies. Dr. Zengutayo's academic output defines her place as a leading scholar of Francophone Caribbean. Her primary area of specialization is literature and culture of the French-speaking Caribbean, Haiti, Martinique, and Guadeloupe. However, her academic specialization expands to areas like French foreign language teaching and learning, modern French literature, comparative literature, and Francophone literature across the Americas. Her work is truly interdisciplinary, spanning multiple languages, including English, French, Creole, and Spanish. She has published more than 60 articles, book chapters, and encyclopedia entries from in the fields of linguistics, translation, and literary studies. She is a recognized authority on major Caribbean authors, and in Haitian studies, her work is praised for its close reading of literary text, paired with her deep knowledge of Haitian literature. Her commitment to language, culture, and scholarship, both at the UE and globally, has provided inspiration and guidance to countless students and colleagues. And some of you are here tonight to testify that. I'm one of those who had the chance to work with her closely. In fact, when I arrived in Jamaica, I was very lucky because in the French department, we had Dr. Elizabeth Wilson, Professor Michael Dash, we had Marie-Josée, Anthea, you were in literature, in English, but there were also very famous people in literature in English. I'm thinking about Professor Beau, for example, or in history, and it was really very good and very important to work on the side of everyone, and it was a privilege. So, with Marie-Josée, I had the chance to work with her closely and to benefit from her firm commitment and precious friendship. Several years ago, thanks to her, I discovered the works of some of the major contemporary Haitian writers. Those literary works continue to illuminate my life daily. It's one of the reasons I feel so fortunate to be here this evening with you to listen to her as she's going to share her expertise and tell us more about the experience of the Haitian writer in the midst of Haiti's social and political turmoil. What a promising title. The question raised by German poet Oderlin, what are poets for in a destitute time, becomes more than ever a crucial one in present times. And it brings us as well to the next question, the responsibility of the writer in a social historical perspective. What can literature serve as? from the perspective of the writer. It is indeed a seminal topic as we witness the turmoil humanity is experiencing. What better but to reassess the role and place of literature and its writers today. Marie-Josée, la parole est à toi. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for this introduction, and thank you for your kind words. I don't know if this thing. Is this thing working? Yes. All right. Well, I'm very shy now, and I think I will run away after those kind words and of introduction. It is for me a great honor to be here with you tonight and to talk about Haitian literature, and mostly not really Haitian literature, rather than Haitian writers and their plight in those circumstances. The idea, when I was approached by Dr. Savayer in order to be the guest speaker tonight, I was just reading a book from a Haitian writer that is very well known in Haiti and now is better known abroad. But at the time, for example, someone like Professor Dash didn't take him very seriously because he was really writing short stories and social criticism, but in a word, in French, we would say déjanté, in the sense that he would be very unexpected, a kind of humor, dark humor, and that he was not taken seriously. However, in Haiti, he was very well read, and this is something that is very important, that sometimes Haitian writers are well known abroad, but they are not read in their own country. And so when I came across his latest book, which is called Les Pages Blanches de la Détresse, so it is the blank pages of distress, I would say I was shocked, but it was very unexpected from such a writer who was mostly known for his humoristic approach to Haitian society. And this book I came across this book after reading another book by Kathleen Mars, who is also an important Haitian writer who is well known abroad and in Haiti. And she wrote a book called Aux frontières de la soif, so at the border of thirst. And in this book, she portrays a writer who is experiencing a writing block. And so taking into account those books coming in the 20s, during this period that we are experiencing now in Haiti, since 1987, a period that is called the endless transition towards democracy. That how do writers react, and particularly in the recent years, since I would say 2010, the earthquake, if I was to look for a marker. And so this gave me the idea of offering the topic of the Haitian writer caught in the midst of social and political turmoil. But to understand that as a I would say as a good Haitian, I would have to go back to history because we usually, even though we, in practice, in political practice and social practice, Haitian doesn't draw lessons from historical past, but in literature or when they have to think about literature, their approach is grounded into historical knowledge. So having to talk about what is happening now and why I choose to talk about the Haitian writer caught in the midst of a social and political turmoil, it is not something new. I think I would say that from the very start of Haitian literature, Haitian writers have always been in the midst of political unrest or social inequalities or social unrest. And there is so when I started to think about this topic tonight, that I have to present tonight, the epigraph that came to my mind was Jean-Paul Sartre about when a child is dying, and he was talking about his book La Nausée, his first existentialist novel. He said, La nausée ne fait pas le poids, meaning that my book doesn't have any weight. And this is what came to my mind, that when you think about the disaster that is taking place in Haiti today, and the violence and the extreme, the delinquescence of the state, where everybody talk about the failed state, but it is something that is really experienced daily in the daily lives of Haitians, and still in the midst of those, what I call the turmoil, Haitian writers are excelling and they are publishing. And the question is, how can you create when everything surrounding you is falling apart? And hence the idea of this lecture. So first, as I said, that the Haitian writers have always been involved into politics or in social issues from the very start. But I would say that at the beginning, it was not the same as what is taking place today, in the sense that most Haitian writers in the 19th centuries, most of them were rather members of the political establishment. Even if they were writing about their society, yet they were involved in politics. And if you look at the biography of those 19th century writers, you will see that some had been ministers, some had been ambassadors, they were high-rank civil servants. So most of them, they were part of the political establishment that was for what was taking place in Haiti. And even writers that people would not even think that they would have had a part in the configuration of Haitian politics. Someone like Jean Price-Mars, someone like Anténor Firmin. Those were prominent writers, but still they had high position in the Haitian government. And some were ministers. For example, Anténor Firmin had been ministers on several occasions. He ended up dying in exile. And this is also something that is a I would say, not the fate, but it is something that also happened to Haitians, that even though they are involved in Haitian writers, even though they are involved in politics, but at the same time, sometimes they have to pay a high price to that involvement. And so therefore, I remember there is a Haitian historian called Michel Soucar who said that, well, if you look at the Haitian intellectuals, either they go into exile or they are dead. So, and maybe they end up in prison. And this is most of the time, this is the kind of experience that those writers have. And so you being a writer in Haiti is not an innocent act. It is not like in other countries from the developed world where a writer can just stay in his ivory tower and write fiction and that's it. For a Haitian writer to write and publish in Haiti or even outside of Haiti, it is also to pay a price. And this price sometimes is a very dire price because there are periods where they end up in prisons and or they disappear. And the most important example of that fate is Jacques-Stéphane Alexis. And because this writer, who is well-known and whose work has been translated in several languages and who is a very important figure of Haitian literature, he doesn't have, there is no, the expression is mort sans sépulture. There is no tomb. There was no funerals for him. And nobody knows where his remains are. And he ended up in prison and he disappeared. Only, I think, Latin American can, and particularly the Argentinian, can understand what it means to be a desaparecido. And this is something that many Haitian intellectuals experienced during the Duvalier era. So you have this, it is a very bad word to use tradition, but it is kind of ongoing, repeated experience of life for Haitian writers that when they get involved in politics and they decide to write, they are really taking risks. And for those who are reading in English and who know about Edwidge Danticat, who is a Haitian-American writer, maybe you have heard of her book, Create Dangerously, where exactly she examined what it means to be a writer under a dictatorship. So you have this element of, that is a kind of permanent feature and a permanent experience for the writers to be politically involved and to have to risk their lives sometimes in writing. So what is, there had been an evolution in that situation, is that where, for example, under the Duvalier regime, up to the Duvalier regime and under the Duvalier regime, writers had only the choice either to write, to stay within, and to be silenced, or to write in order, what we called in Haiti, that you use a coded language, what we call parler en daki, to speak the daki code, where you talk about something, but using a different imagery that does not allow the power to identify, to recognize the political criticism and the political commitment. And yet, whoever is in the knowing can decipher what it is about. And one of the Haitian writer who is a specialist of that technique is Frank Etienne. He passed away earlier this year, and even though he never left Haiti during the Duvalier era, he published in Haiti, but what he did, he created a style that he called spiralism. Okay? I don't know if anybody I've ever heard in this room, I've ever heard of Frank Etienne, but he is also a very prominent figure of Haitian literature, and also in terms of personality, he was a very extreme character. He was a painter, and he was a poet, a dramaturge, actor, singer, and he had a kind of a super ego personality. But when he stayed in Haiti, and despite the risk, he wrote in, and even though I think the government, it was under the Duvalier regime, François Duvalier, and then Jean-Claude Duvalier, but they did not touch him because they felt that it was, I would say, he was protected, in a sense, by the very personality that he had at that time. And he was, so you have this kind of situation that someone who lives under terrible circumstances is able to demonstrate a very important, well, a very prolific creation. You always had this. One of the characteristics of the Haitian writers is that I would say up to the 90s, the early 90s, they used to present and it is the influence of Jacques-Stéphane Alexis and Jacques Roumain also, that their fiction always had a way to be promoting an ideology of change. And they had a character, they had a protagonist in those stories that would be the spokesperson of the writer's ideology. What I noticed is that after 1987, little by little, this messianic role of the character started to fade, and other voices emerge. And where that in most of the stories, you always had a character who was an intellectual and who would he would be the one bringing awareness among the people. So what happened after 1987 and in the 90s is that I would say the avatar of the writer in the fiction stopped to be the leader, and he started to be an advisor or sometimes just a witness who would be recording what was happening in front of him. And one of the writers who is more symbolic of that approach is Lionel Trouillot. And even in in one of his novels, he even showed that the intellectual lost his prominence and he lost the right to speak for the people. And here I think about a novel that is called, the name is a Creole term, which is called Kanjau. Okay? Honestly, I never knew this word in Creole until I read the novel. And it is a Creole word that means getting together and having like a barbecue, to be together, to come together and enjoy together. And so in that novel, and this is something that really marked, because at that time I was looking at the end of what I term the end of the intellectual in fiction. And this novel came after I wrote my article. And in this book, he portrayed an intellectual who is a teacher who had suffered during the dictatorship, who had been in prison, had been liberated after the coup, and had resumed teaching at the university. That intellectual is anonymous in the book. He's called Le Petit Professeur, which means, so that in English I have a problem. Should I say a small teacher or the little teacher, or maybe in Jamaican, the little teacher? I think little teacher would be better. So that he had this character that comes and that meet with students that are coming from lower income classes. And those students are challenging him to say, asking that, but you as intellectuals, you were well read, but what did you do? What have you brought to the country? And from that discussion with his students, the professor who was trying to reach out to them become a kind of recluse, and he ends up committing suicide by setting himself and his place in fire. So you have the idea of the death by fire, which is a way of expiating, maybe. But also, when I read that section of the novel where he set fire to his house, and he died, he locked himself, and he died among his books in his library. Okay? And for me, it was a way to say that all this knowledge, this culture that he had accumulated, he felt that it has no longer a value. For he had nothing to bring to the society because he could not interact and he could not have an influence on the younger generation that was coming. He was this feeling of being irrelevant, and this is something that appears in that novel. In addition to, we have Lionel Trouillot, who on many occasions, I think it is a kind of a recurring theme in his work. He also acknowledged the gap that is taking place within Haiti, within Haitian society, where you almost have a kind of apartheid that does not say its name, but that is in practice. And that apartheid is that he lament in many of his novels, is that he said that he acknowledged that there is no longer, in Haitian society today, there is no longer a communal space where different social classes could interact. And this is something that he tried to document in each novel after each novel. I think Kanjao is the one that is the extreme of that. The same, but Trouillot is not in a specific case. This also appears in Yannick Laes, who is another writer who is well known and who also, in addition to her fiction, she recently won the Académie Française, the prize of the Académie Française for the novel, for her latest book. She also is someone who theorizes her practice as a writer. And she has a novel in her recent novels she's also an interesting case because, for example, she was an academic. She was a lecturer at the university, and she was writing literary criticism. And curiously, it is during the period 91-94 when there was the coup d'etat against the first, they say the first democratically elected president, but he's not the first. I would say the second. The President Jean-Bertrand Aristide was overthrown by a coup d'etat, and that coup d'etat was followed by a very violent period of, I think it is the second experience of violence after 1987. And during that period of terror, where the people were killed in the street, people who were suspected of being partisan of Jean-Bertrand Aristide, they were executed or molested. This is when she started to write fiction. So this is something that tells me that it is that in period of crisis, when as it seems that there is no way out, where the creative imagination takes over and the writers start to, I would say that they are trying to escape, because in fact they don't really escape, because it is not a fiction about a beautiful country or something. It is a fiction that looks at what is happening in the society. It is as if you are on the side, you are about at the border, there is a fire, you are an onlooker. Instead of walking away, you decided to go in the fire. And I think this is what those writers do most of the time. And this is something that is very important to see, that in terms of literary production, never has the Haitian literary production be more prolific than in those past years between 87 and today. And people are writing. So this is as if, and it is not only in fiction, writing fiction, but you have also writing essays, but also in the arts, painting, artisanal craft. Never has Haitian be more creative than when they are living on the ruins of their country. So this is this kind of contradiction that I was trying to capture. And this was initiated by reading two books. One, which is Kathleen Mars, Aux frontières de la soif, and the other one, Gary Victor, Les Pages Blanches de la Détresse. Because while they are writing, but they are presenting in their books a writer who is experiencing a writer's block because of the condition that he is living in Haiti. So you have this kind of mise en abîme of the writer. And it is, and you have other writers that are also talking about leaving the country, writing abroad, joining the diaspora. And this is something also that is, that reflects the contradiction that you have in the Haitian society and the contradiction that writers are facing currently is that Haitian writers are more, they are celebrated and recognized outside of Haiti. And this is an experience that I had, is that I was talking about Kathleen Mars, because I was writing an article about her at that time, and I was talking to her. I met some Haitians who were in Haiti and who came in to visit in Jamaica. And you know, I would say naively, I talked to them about Kathleen Mars. And they are educated Haitian, please, literate, yet I draw a blank. Never heard of her. I was shocked because Kathleen Mars is someone who writes she writes in journals, short stories that are published in serials, in journals in Haiti. And she has received awards outside of Haiti. So for me, it was a given that she was well known, that every literate Haitian knew about Kathleen Mars. Yet, no, they didn't know about her. And I realized something also by talking with other friends that are in Haiti who are not, and this is something very, maybe that we should take into consideration, Haitians who are not in literary circles or intellectual circles, it is as if they don't read their own Haitian writers. Okay? And once when I was raising the issue with a friend of mine, she said, but I cannot read them because this is something that I live every day. So how can I read something that I am experiencing and that is traumatizing me? I cannot read them. So we are reached a kind of, I would say, full circle, where at the beginning, Haitian writers were read outside of Haiti, but they were seeking recognition outside of Haiti. And now we have full circle where Haitian writers are celebrated, well-known, translated in many languages, even in Japanese. They are translated, they are well-known abroad, but they are not recognized within Haiti. So this is, do I have time? Nobody is keeping time? At what time should I stop? I am Haitian, I can continue forever and ever. No, really, I mean, we are timed, so I should conclude, don't we? No, but seriously, because I could continue, because it is something really that is that is dear to me, and that I can go on and on because of the question that I always ask myself is that how come, because now we are kind of full circle where the Haitians, for example, I remember writing in the 80s, 90s that the Haitian diaspora, the writers from the diaspora were connecting to the writers within Haiti. But now it is the reverse. It is that most of Haitian writers are leaving Haiti and very few choose to remain in Haiti and to live in the conditions that I don't know how I could depict those conditions, which is really, I think that if ever one of these days the political situation is stabilized, that you will have 11 million of people suffering from post-traumatic disorder. So maybe I will end with that sad note. or maybe I would say that envers et contre tout. So no matter what, there always will be someone to write for hope in Haiti, in that condition. I don't know if I spoke too much or not enough, because there are many things that could be done, but if you have any questions, yes.
No, I just wanted to thank you for this lecture, what didn't sound as a lecture, with so much wisdom and knowledge and amazing memory, that is being actually delivered and conveyed as if it was what you just said now. You can be talking for hours as in a conversation, as if it was, the most normal subject to be talking for you. So it's just amazing the way you have delivered that and the way the ideas came across to some of us that probably know less about Asian literature. And so I really want to thank you for that. And I had a lot of notes because, I always write, and I like writing by hand, always. And so I have a few comments. I was questioning to myself the way these writers can actually pass censorship. I had many questions. You answer with your presentation quite a few. You talk about the intertextuality that they use and they create, and they write their own story, and they actually, in the act of writing, yeah? So, and you mentioned quite a few things that I wanted to ask, but really one of the main questions that came to my mind is in the way they do it, the way they write to overcome censorship and still creation be their way of survival and their way of expressing, but at the same time it's very dangerous for them to be doing it. So there are a lot of questions there. But I think I'm going to pass the floor to all of you, and if you have any questions, probably Mary-Josie will be pleased to answer.
Can I add?
You want to ask to yourself as well?
No, I just wanted to know, when I talk about, the Haitian writers now, they are, getting recognition outside of Haiti. I wanted to draw your attention to the fact that there is a lot of translations, English translations, and Haitian studies in the US, so that I think maybe they are, I don't know if they are targeting the Haitian diaspora in the US, or if they are developing interest, mostly, the Africana studies, that they are developing interest for Haitian literature.
So any questions? Yes, and it's understandable, yeah, that they are now read more outside. And inside is traumatic, it's difficult to read, it's difficult to... Okay, we don't have, do we have another microphone? Because otherwise I'm going to be running around.
Dr. Zengutayo, what's the name of the work, the most recent work written by Yannick Lance, for which she had won that prize?
Thank you so much for this really amazingly insightful lecture. So I have a question about how the self-conception or self-view of Haitian writers may have changed. So you noted that, you know, in the late 20th century, Haitian writers were, you know, ministers in government, and they were senior public servants and all that. So they clearly saw a very public role for themselves. So what is that for writers in Haiti today? Do they see a public role for themselves, or are they in hiding? How has that changed?
Well, here again, the contradiction of Haitian society is that most of the writers who live now in Haiti, except for Gary Victor, who is not involved at all, most of them are university lecturers or teachers, high school teachers, and they write. But the habit of being close to power doesn't change, because currently we have a writer who is Minister of Culture. So it means that there is an attraction of power that still remains today. But it is less, and I think it is linked to the experience of migration. I was going to say exile, but I don't know if currently we can talk about exile. But let's say forced migration, that most of the Haitian writers, they tend to be scholars, guest scholars at universities, or I think most of them work in the field of education. So they are lecturers or they are teachers abroad. And I think it is that experience of exile and forced migration that maybe help them to sever the tie with political involvement. I mean, not political involvement, but governmental establishment, you know, connection with the power. And I think Gary Victor has a book that led, another book that led to that way of thinking, is Je sais quand Dieu vient dans mon jardin, so I know when God is visiting my garden. And this should remind you of the original sin when God came to Adam. And there is a definite connection with that title, and where he his protagonist is a writer, and he accepts to be the ghost writer of the president. All right? So you have this attraction, I would say attraction repulsion with power.
And meanwhile, I go upstairs. No, because I have to take this. No, nothing. Yes. No, I put my phone.
Hi, Dr. Zengotayo, are you able to give us any gendered comments, the situation of the Haitian male writer versus the Haitian female writer?
Can you specify?
No, because what? Oh. Well, I don't think I have a definite response to that question, because what is happening is that you have in the mid-20th century, you had the emergence of female writers. And mostly now we have, I would say, there are always more male writers than female writers, but you have female writers that are well recognized, and they are in increasing numbers. Now, for those who stayed in Haiti that I know of, there is Yannick Laes, who stayed in Haiti, and Evelyn Trouillot. So that's two that I can recall. And there are others. There is one, unfortunately, it's sad, she was killed, but she was in Haiti. And and this is unfortunate. So most of them, you have some who stayed, some who left the country. For example, Kathleen Mars used to live in Haiti, and recently she migrated to the US. There was Jessica Fievre, she migrated to the US long before, but at one point she migrated. So you have this, in terms of gender balance, I don't know if there are more, and there is Emily Pierre, the one who is the Minister of Culture. She's a female writer, and she's in Haiti currently. So I would say that currently in Haiti, there is no real difference. You see, mostly the difference between male and female writers is access to publishing a house. And because many writers from the earlier generation, they would not be able to access a publishing house. Sometimes, I mean, in the early 20th century, women writers who were able to publish, it was because they had a very understanding husband who would pay the printing house for their book to be published. Otherwise, I think Marie Chauvet is one of the, there was also Ida Faubert. There is I think Marie Chauvet is one of the first female writers who had access to a publishing house outside of Haiti. So that tells you.
And there is a change in the writing when they are actually in Haiti and then they go to exile. There is an they experience
there was a difference during the Duvalier regime. During the Duvalier regime, there was a difference because writers could not, I mean, it was a life-threatening experience for writers. So writers would, as I said, they would use a kind of coded language or coded stories in order to avoid to be persecuted, okay? If the writers decided to write, you know, whatever they had in mind and criticize the government, they would end up in prison and they would disappear. Many writers, someone like, well, I told already about Jacques-Stéphane Alexis. There is another Haitian poet who died earlier this year, who is called Anthony Phelps. He was a poet and a novelist. He left Haiti. He spent some time in prison, and then he left Haiti and went to Canada. And so that there are writers, I think the writers who stayed in Haiti, they would write, this is what this literary movement that was called spiralism. Those writers who were, you know, the satellite of Frank Etienne and the friends of Frank Etienne, they would write stories, but they would not criticize the government directly. They would not speak directly, but of course, everybody would know what they are talking about. So this is a kind. You have someone like Jean-Claude Fignolet, who decided to stay in Haiti. But most of those generations, they passed away in recent years. What would be characteristic is that the writers who are outside of Haiti, they would write about Haiti. And so that even when they tried to, it would be always like, a kind of pull factor that even though they would write about other topics, I was thinking about someone like Jean Metellus, who wrote about a Swiss painter, a book that is called Une eau forte, which is about a Swiss painter, which has nothing to do with Haiti. Yet, he still had other books, even though that he was living in France, he would write about Haiti in those books. Someone like Edwidge Danticat, even though she's African-American, she's Haitian African-American, she writes about Haiti. And this was also at one point when she emerged as an important writer, this was a bone of contention because she was accused of using Haiti as a way to attract a readership in the US and to carve a kind of niche for herself. But of course, this problem has been solved since then.
I have one question for you, Marie-Josée. I don't know. I get the impression, and talking about the evolution of the writer caught in the midst of social and political turmoil, I got the impression that there is a sense of emergency now in the state of emergency. There is a sense of emergency of writing that maybe was not there before, and maybe it's also why Yannick Lins talked about urgence d'écrire. How do you say that in English? Urgence d'écrire, rêve d'habiter. Urgence d'écrire, rêve d'habiter.
It was officially translated as urgencies to write.
Yeah.
But for me, it was writing under emergency, the emergency to write.
Yeah.
But officially, it is urgencies to write.
So that was the title of our inaugural lecture at Collège de France in 2019. Ancrage et la fuite, yeah.
So being anchored and running away, the Haitian writer.
Ah, pardon. No, I was skipping it. I have another one. Oh, yeah. I have another one in page blanche de la détresse. Just something. I was puzzled that Gary Victor, who is a writer with a very broad imagination, right? Yes. Because I always imagine the white page, was more about the words than imagination. So when he says that
it is literal.
Yeah, but at the same time he's inventing so much.
To answer that question, because it is very interesting. Well, it is one of the books of Gary Victor that I had the hardest time to read, okay? And usually, well, I say confidence for confidence, the secret, that usually I read Gary Victor in one, okay? I would stay awake until I finished. And this very book is a book that I have the hardest time to read, because it was each time, each chapter or each section, it was like, I would say, a knife, in my heart. And this is very interesting. The book is entitled Les pages blanches de la détresse. So literally, it would be the white pages of distress. However, when you read the book, détresse is not what you think. It is not distress. Détresse is a drug. It's a new drug that is experimentally circulating in Haiti in order to substitute to crack or crystal, so that the détresse is both the distress condition, but it is also the drug that is deteriorating the society as well. Now, Les Pages Blanches, it is even more, because Gary Victor has a very special sense of humor, and his writing is it's not fantasy, a lot of fantasy, and very improbable. Now, Les Pages Blanches is both the writers, it is the white, literally, the white page that when the writer is trying to write, and the white page, okay? But this white page is also linked to a denomination, a very specific denomination, which is called Les Pages Blanches du Nouveau Testament. This is a denomination where the pastor, when he has his gathering of prayer, he circulates white pages to the community and asks them to write their sins or confession on those white pages, and he collects those pages. And all the book is about, when that pastor come into play in the book. Now, all the rest of the pages of the book is about what does this pastor is going to do with those pages, because he stored them, he put them in boxes, and so the question is what he is going to do with them. Should I say what he does? I hope that it will be translated I doubt that it is going to be translated into English, because it would be a great challenge. But it is really, Gary Victor is a favorite writer of mine, but he is very special, because what he does, he plays on the imagination, and the most, sometimes he reminds me of Stephen King, sometimes he is really totally out of order. Because what happened is that those white pages that are written where the congregation writes their sin in the church, they are stored. And nobody knows what he's going to do with those pages. But at one point, and this is where he uses also, in his very special way, because I don't know if it is documented, an imaginative Vodou mythology, where you have and I think it is taken from a quotation from the Bible about the fire that is going to destroy the sinners. So that there is a fire that appears, some fires that are spontaneously and burning everything that they can burn. At the beginning, they start to burn indiscriminately. And then after, they start to have targets, specific targets. And at one point, you discover towards the end of the book that those scenes that were written on the white pages were the ones that were nurturing those flames, and so that as time goes by and that the flames are deciphering those white pages, the flames start to have specific target for destruction. So this is typically of Gary Victor, where the very improbable is used in order to convey the idea of the deliquescence of the Haitian society. Yeah. And this is why the book is very hard to read, because you have the more realistic aspect of what is taking place now in Haiti that any reader can recognize as a lived experience. Yet, you have this totally crazy imagination where that deals with that situation. And in addition, in that book, you have two fictional characters. So that is very funny, because you have the Mise en Abîme, that a book within a book. He has his fictional characters that are present in the book and that are interacting with their author. All right?
Okay. So thank you very much. And thank you very much, everybody. Yeah. There is one more question.
So this is the last comment. Okay, I couldn't think of a question to ask, but I do have a compliment. Now, if I could have given an alternative title to your talk, Marie-José, it would have been Haiti, the Untold Story. I found it very illuminating because, like so many people in this room, I'm sure, you have heard the horror stories. I mean, I've often said, this place seems to be God-forsaken. You know, where will it end? But I think what you have shown us tonight is that creative spirit, that in spite of the horrors has survived, is the message of hope that I'm taking away from this lecture. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you for your comment, but I mean, in the midst of despair, I think from the bottom of the well that we are shouting in order to bring hope. But it is really, I mean, the condition, the situation is really despairing. But despite of that, I mean, it is something that shocked even, I mean, I'm Haitian, but I'm still shocked by the fact that when each time I think about what is taking place, the stories that I hear from my family who is living in Haiti, and then I see what is produced artistically in terms of fine art, painting, literature, the excellence also, the fact that the excellence that is recognized outside of Haiti, not in Haiti.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marie-José. Thank you, everybody. And please, Dr. Montabeme, Yaya Montabeme is going to give the vote of thanks. And
yeah, yes, John. Thanks, Maite. Deputy Principal, Dean of Faculty of Humanity and Education, Head of Department, distinguished guests, former Dean, I see Professor Kwenbeck, former Head, Professor Ramsey. On behalf of the Department of Modern Language and Literature, at the University of West Indies, Mona campus. It's my great honor to extend our deepest thanks at the conclusion of this 7th Gabriel Coulthard and William Mailer Distinguished Lecture. First, we would like to express our profound gratitude to our guest speaker, Dr. Marie-Josée Zengutayo, for a powerful and insightful presentation. Dear Marie-Josée, okay. Dear Marie-Josée, this evening you have guided us through the complexity of Haiti's social and political turmoil while shedding light on the crucial place of the Haitian writer as witness and as a voice of memory and dignity. Your insight have not only broadened on our understanding, but have also encouraged us to reflect critically of the intersection of literature, society, and resilience. We truly appreciate your generosity, your expertise, and everything you have done for the DML over the years. We also wish to thank the leadership of UWI Mona, Deputy Principal, Dean, HOD, for your ongoing support of this lecture series, which continues to nurture vibrant intellectual exchange within our faculty and across the wider university. We extend our appreciation to our colleagues in the Faculty of Humanity and Education, the organizing committee, I think to our student, Amaya, Sultania, Sierra, Mr. Anderson. And all those who work behind the scene to make tonight's event a success. To our students who attended, thank you for your presence, for your attention, and for your engagement. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening. Before leaving, I want to call Mrs. Bennett.
Bonsoir. Yes, it is my privilege to present this token of our appreciation to Dr. Zengutayo. When I was asked to do this, the song that came to my mind was To Sir With Love. I don't know how many of you know that song, the famous, one of the, it's about, yes, it's about a student talking about how her teacher helped her grow up. And there's a famous line, how do you thank someone who has brought you from crayons to perfume? And I was not quite using crayons when we met. but you have shaped me as a student of French and as a teacher of French. You held me to a high standard as a student and to a high standard as a teacher and colleague. And even now, in editing minutes of committee meetings. And I think that I stand here representing what you have given to this university and to the youth of Jamaica, because I would not be here without you. Donc, merci infiniment.
Well, I think that I should say thank you, because really I'm very moved by your comment, and I think I just did my duty as a teacher. Not, this is what we are supposed to do.
Merci, madame.
I'm glad to hear that I was able to bring some of you.
Thank you.
My best record is 2 years. So I hope, and I'm very jealous.
Okay, thank you.
Years, orchestra years. Okay. So I would like, well, I think that we are about to leave, and I would like to thank you for your patience that to stay with. You see, my presentation in Haiti would be called a l'audience, not really a lecture. But
Okay. Thank you, and good evening to everybody.
thank you for coming and thank you for staying.
Oh, that's very good. Very good.